Alright, I'm here, but I don't know why my camera's not working, so just give me a second here. Not that it's all that important, but oh, it is important because I need to show you. Um, I don't think I can share anything, can I? Hey there, I'm just complaining because my camera's not working, but let me see if I'm able to share screen with you without my camera. I guess it doesn't really matter as far as that goes. Let's see here. Um, just put a comment. I'm gonna rearrange my camera here so we notice a minute. Yeah, if you can make a comment, private chat, but just a comment, tell me that you're here, hear me, okay? That's what I'm wanting to know, really. I still haven't tried to share the screen. That's where I usually lose um, contact with, and I got to kind of reboot the browser. So, had to reboot, so, or at least, yeah, um, Quizlet for you, so we can go over that real quick. The, um, the, yeah, I hope you guys are safe and warm, and I know that there are people having electricity issues, and electricity, even if you have gas, is the way in which electricity is delivered by through your heating and air conditioning system. It's still electrical. What blows the heat into the house is electrical. The heat actually comes from gas, but it is super cold outside and will be again tomorrow. But I think we're past the worst and all of that. So let's hope some. As soon as I can get I've got to get a new computer, or I need to start doing this from from school. But today that wouldn't really be an option. So all right, here in my browser tab, if it's gonna pull up Quizlet here, but it's taking its time. Emails from people today saying that they had different reasons why they couldn't, mainly that's electricity. And of course, with electricity, you lose the internet. You get on, of course, that begins to that's not the ideal thing, but we do what we have to do. But of course, that's going to run out of power eventually. So you maybe want to preserve your phone power in case there's some kind of emergency or something. So not a lot of good choices, but all right. I'm not stalling. I'm still just chatting, but I'm trying to. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it just takes a while for it to heal. So, but I'm not sure who. But all right. Still waiting. I want to go over that first, and we'll see if I get mine. Then just stay where you are, and don't. That doesn't mean we're done. That means I just had to restart the program, which doesn't take just a couple of minutes. So just wait on me. And that usually I have to go share the screen. Gosh, I feel internet from the 90s here. Some old America Online AOL account or something. As long as it's taking for it to download. There we go. Okay. I'm going to try to share the screen, and if I lose you here, please don't go anywhere, because I'll be right back. The screen might go blank, but the broadcast part of it still keeps going. So let's see what let me let it settle in here a little bit. Okay. Oh, all right. See where we are here. Oh, now it's downward thing. It's just so ancient the way it's working. This usually only takes a few minutes, doesn't it? Or a few minutes. Okay. Well, there you see the first word already. Oh, what is it? Büroklammer? The quiz is still Friday. No matter what happens this week, it's quiz on Friday. So, Büroklammer, I guess you're going to see when it pops up. It has to do this all again. So cumbersome. We'll go back to the beginning. Alright, well, we're a different place. To answer the phone. That's a strange one, I think. The word that they use, the way they phrase it. Einen Anruf entgegen. That's all. Okay, so someone takes the call, or you call yourself. To find a job. Yeah, they say to find work is the literal translation of what they say, and that's Arbeit finden. Yeah, it means the same thing. Arbeit finden. Essentially close to English. A little different spelling, only one letter maybe. Assistent or die Assistent. Good. And to hang up. Yeah, I get to slam the phone down on somebody. Don't get to do that so much anymore, but the verb to hang up the phone. We still say hang up, although we don't hang the phone anywhere. But auflegen. Yeah, that's what we say, right? We hang the phone as if it's like a wall phone. We're hanging it up on the wall. But in German, same thing, auflegen. Yeah, so this education or training could be college, it could be vocational training, it could be training that goes on while you're already at a job, and it's training within your job, and that's called die Ausbildung. Then we have is part of the title of the chapter, and that first word of the title is Beruf, der Beruf. Then we put those things together, those two words, and it is Berufsausbildung. Yeah, training for a career, training for an occupation. And again, that could be on this while you already have the job, like we do as teachers. I think I said last time. We have professional development days where people come from the outside, or people from within our school present certain things. I think about last spring, we had on the Friday before spring break, because we didn't know what was going to happen, right, last March, so almost a year ago now. And I remember we only went to school until noon on Friday before spring break, because in the after we had lunch, and then the teachers did, and then after that we had what would be called Berufsausbildung. But of course the topic of Berufsausbildung was, how do we do this? How do we teach? How do we use? We didn't know how to use Zoom. Most of us. We didn't know how to teach online or any other type of online teaching. We didn't really know how to do. So we had a few presentations from some people about how to do that. That would be called Berufsausbildung. Yeah, but but it could also be before a job. If a meeting with someone, work related to, and then so what you do in a meeting is you want someone speaking at least. Applicant. This verb, or this I should say this word is going to be shown as a verb and as a noun, and maybe one other way here. Let's see here. But an applicant, male, der Bewerber, die Bewerberin is the noun, applicant. Here's our bonus, please hold. And they simply say, bleiben Sie bitte am Apparat. This is an old word for telephone. Apparat. Bleiben Sie bitte am Apparat. Stay on the phone. We might say, please stay on the line. Paperclip, that's what I was asking for earlier. Oop, I'll turn that off. That was, paperclip was Büroklammer. Büroklammer, that was the first word we saw pop up here. The supply, Büroklammer will be office supply, or one of many office supplies. There's some right there. But in German, Büromaterial, that's pretty easy. Office material. Papers, post-it notes, Büroklammer, Kuli, Bleistifte, Papier, okay, whatever you need for your office. An employee, someone who works, is the same from male, der Angestellte, word we had last chapter, der Deutsche, and die Deutsche. It's one of the few words like that that's works for both. A letter of recommendation is well, this is a pretty long, 3 words, or it's longer, all 3 of these, but it's still long in German, all one word, of course. Empfehlungsschreiben, there's the verb. Empfehlung is a recommendation, So we get to recommendation from that. Experience, that's of course important. If you're a Bewerber looking for a Arbeit finden, you be helpful if you had some experience. Die Erfahrung is that word. A firm, I use the word firm for a reason because it's close to the German, but it's a corporation or a company, like a big German company like that. That's die Firma. Die Firma. Just think of the word firm, but we use the word firm only with a couple of types of, it's like an engineering firm, a consulting firm, a law firm. We don't use it with very many, but German it's used more broadly, talk about companies. Yeah, this is going to mention a high salary and a low salary. I have both words here in the, answer. Let me click the right. Well, it's das Gehalt is salary. Das Gehalt. Here's the high and low part in the middle. Das hohe Gehalt, a high salary, and niedrig is low. Das Gehalt. Das hohe Gehalt, niedrige Gehalt. Business. Okay, so we had Firma. That's a company. That's a little bit larger thing, perhaps. It would be a larger company, corporation, but a business like this, a small business maybe. Also, it's the word just for business in general, like doing business. Is das Geschäft, that part of the word, the way that we do. Obviously, Bosch is a Geschäft as well, but probably better Firma. Manager, like Michael Scott, if you know him. Manager, well, the long word that Germans use is Geschäftsführer. There's the word for business, Geschäft. Führer, we non-text, right? But a Geschäftsführer, a business leader, that's kind of what it means. As I told you last week, the Germans pretty regularly refer to this simply as their manager. So they've adopted our word for this. This is a little bit older word. A stapler, this is back to Büromaterial. A stapler. Der Hefter. Receiver on a phone, the thing that you talk into. Receiver is the Hörer. Der Hörer is also the thing you hear from as well, but in your ear and you speak into the other end of it. That's called der Hörer. Good, that whole piece. To be on hold. So we had some say, bitte bleiben Sie am Apparat. But the verb to be on hold is longer in German, I think, than it is. In der Warteschleife sein. In der Warte, to win. There's a line, like so, well, it could be translated that way, but Warteschleife, the waiting line, yeah, okay. Resume, we get this word from French, but Germans have their own word for this, their Lebenslauf. The course of one's life, I guess, would be the translation, Lebenslauf. To leave a message, so you call someone, they're not there, they can't answer, leave a message. Eine Nachricht, there's the message part, written or verbal message. Hinterlassen, to leave, eine Nachricht hinterlassen. HR manager, or we used to say personnel manager in English. Now HR manager seems to be the more acceptable term. That's in German, though they say Personalchef. Now, chef is a boss. Chef, it's a false cognate. It looks like chef, like in a restaurant, but think of it more the word like chief, okay, if that helps any. But they're chief operating officer, but Personal is the personnel manager. Is not really, maybe he's the boss of that department, but bulletin board, that's pretty easy. Die Pinnwand. Wand, wall, pen, we know what that means, so you stick pens in it. Internship. So you don't maybe have the job yet, but you're going to get some on-the-job Erfahrung, experience, right? So that word is das Praktikum. Das Praktikum. Good. Reference. People say some good things about you, hopefully. Die Referenz, that's pretty easy from English. Referenz, to apply. So we had Bewerber is an applicant. That's going to come from this verb. And that's reflexive, sich bewerben. And if you're applying for a job, you don't say for. So you'd say, ich bewerbe mich diese Stelle, this position here. We'll have that word in a minute, die Stelle. Okay. Yep, here it is here. Or a job within a company, your actual job, Stelle. So ich bewerbe mich eine Stelle bei der Firma Bosch. That'd be a good job to have. Job opening. Well, we're going to see the word Stelle again here, in part. Stellenangebot. This is what you put in the newspaper, a job offering, Stellenangebot. Telephone number. That's pretty easy from German to English. Die Telefonnummer. Probably would have guessed that anyway. Double N, by the way, in that word. Appointment. This is its own phrase in German. This is einen Termin. That's the appointment. We'll see that word in a minute. Vereinbaren. That's the verb. I don't know that verb used in any other way other than with the noun einen Termin. So vereinbaren. Maybe it's not that I know though. So the appointment itself, we've already seen, is der Termin. And contract. Sign a contract, a work contract, or at work with a company. Der Vertrag. Almost to the end. Interview. Well, I made this word easier than I think I told you than it was in the textbook, so I'm just going to call it as interview because that's, I think, the word you hear more often. And then this question you might ask when someone takes your call, or you take someone else's call. Who's calling? Who's calling? Wer spricht? Wer spricht? Who's calling? All right. Good. Let me see if I can, without fumbling up. I hope. Okay, we got a couple more people here. Good. All right. Let me see if I can do this without. And again, if I drop off the screen and it kind of goes black or whatever, don't go anywhere. That just means that I overloaded the system, I guess. Let me see if I've got this ready to go. Looks like I do. All right, here we go. Again, if I go away, I'll be right back. Computer being picky. Let's see here. Looks like it's going to work. Okay. So I'm sharing back with the textbook here. Let me give this here the full screen if you don't have your book. That way you can follow along. I'm just going to, a couple things about the chapter, and I'm not going to go into the description. I'd rather wait until we're together to discuss the grammar. It's not the it's a little bit complicated I think to talk about it too much or try to explain it. But relative pronouns, something we have in English too. We do them a little differently, but like many other things in German, and I've been saying this in the beginning, relative pronouns depend on the gender of the word and what case it's being used in. That seems to be a common theme of the German language. So we'll talk about relative pronouns. In English, we use words like which and that and things like that. Like, that's the problem which we've been discussing. Which here refers back to problem. That's the problem that works easier in English. But of course, German's got to make it more difficult here. I'm just trying to see what the next I know what it is. That's why I'm trying to pull it up without. All right. And then a review, which we won't spend a lot of time on, which is about the perfect tense and the simple past tense, which is something we covered in early in German too. So I don't know. We'll look at this a little bit, but since it is review, just to kind of refresh ourselves with it. But that's something that I think we got down pretty well last year. But I'll remind you what it is whenever we get there. Let me see. I think that might be it. As far as grammar goes. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So let's take a look here. Back up a little bit to the exact page number for you. Page 116, 116, and there's a couple of articles here in 117, like there is the chapter, and this first article is about Familienunternehmen. So Familia, this is a familia here, actually a fairly well-known that I'll say a little bit about. And an Unternehmen is another word for a company or business. But Familienunternehmen, like a family-owned business, these people actually are part of probably one of the largest family-owned businesses in Germany. Generally I think that's probably part of the definition, is that a family business that you can buy stock in. It's a business that is held privately by individuals, and in this case by a family. So this is a bit complicated. It's talking about business here, but let's jump into this here. Laut einer Studie des Instituts für Mittelstandsforschung sind etwa 3 Millionen deutsche Firmen in Familienbesitz. They're held in a family. The 3 million deutsche Firmen, 3 million German companies, are a Familienunternehmen or Familienbesitz. They're held by a family. Diese Familienunternehmen sind ungefähr 95% aller Firmen und Betriebe. And I'm not sure that compares to the United States, but family-run companies are about 95% of the companies and businesses in Germany. We say a lot of times that small businesses are really the backbone of our economy, and that's true to a certain degree. But all right, über 41% des Umsatzes, Sales, Umsatz aller Firmen wird von einem Familienunternehmen erwirtschaftet. So sales in Germany, again, 41% of them are generated by these family companies. Bei diesen Zahlen, with these numbers, ist es nicht verwunderlich, it's no wonder, es ist nicht verwunderlich, dass Daten den wichtigsten Aspekt der deutschen Wirtschaft nennen. So there's words we know here that experts say that these Familienunternehmen, wichtig, important, den wichtigsten Aspekt der deutschen Wirtschaft. Wirtschaft is economy, and they are like they are here. Now, the family up here that was showing the pictures of them at the top of the page, die list bekannter deutscher Familienunternehmen ist lang. It's a long list. Here's the family in the picture above. Die Familie Quandt besitzt zum Beispiel 50% des Automobilbauers BMW. Do you recognize those three letters, BMW. Just so happens that they work in German and in English. In German, this stands for Bayerische Motorwerk, which translates in English, Bavarian Motor Works. So BMW happens to hold its abbreviation in German and English. Other countries probably not, but BMW, and this family that started BMW, Familie Quandt, the Quandt family, it's an unusual last name, but they retain 50% of this company's ownership. They have other investors, but not, as far as I know, not stock investors though. Other people have interests in it that they're on the boards and all that, but the family still has the really pretty much pulling interest in the company. Here, did I leave off a part there? Let me see here. Familie Quandt. Okay. Also, back at the top again. Die Familie Bertelsmann ist mit dem größten deutschen Medienkonzern sehr erfolgreich. Medienkonzern would be a media corporation or company. There's lots of words here. Konzern, Unternehmen, Firma, Geschäft. These are all, business. Concern. We say concern sometimes. They're a media concern. In business, that's not an uncommon use. Only certain things, though. But this is another family, Bertelsmann, and they're one of the largest, the largest, actually, German media company. And they have companies they own outside of Germany, too, but very successful. Die Familie Herrios besitzt Herrios Holding, GmbH, this is an abbreviation like incorporated, die im Bereich Edelstahl jährlich über 22 Milliarden Euro erwirtschaftet. There's that word again. So what is, they translate then Edelmetall as precious metals. I think that's how they're going to translate. Yeah, precious metals down here below. So they're a holding corporation. Obviously they deal with gold and silver and whatever else is worth owning at the time. 22 billion euros in sales. Andere berühmte Familienunternehmen, other well-known family companies, family-owned, Z. Henkel. It says Reinigungsmittel. That's true. Henkel also makes knives as well. Okay. Marquardt und Balls, mineral oil. Fresenius, yeah, Arzneimittel. These are like over-the-counter medications. These are family-owned companies. Neben diesen großen Unternehmen findet sich in ganz Deutschland eine große Anzahl kleinerer Familienunternehmen. So not all of them are huge $20 million companies. Of course, just like here, some of them are literally family-run companies, die oft eine lange Tradition zurückschauen können. So they might have been passed down through families for generations with a long tradition. Das Familienunternehmen HIP, this is a small company they're going to mention here, produziert Babynahrung. Yeah, HIP is the name of this company. They make baby food and formula. And then here, die Gebrüder Mähler produzieren Stoffe im Bayerischen Wald. They produce material like, I think this is all with material like you make clothing out of, like textile material. Let me see how they translate it. If they translate it. Okay, fabrics, good. Fabrics, good. That's a better word for it than material. That's the name, die Gebrüder Mähler. And they do this in Bayerischen Wald, which is in Bavaria. Und there's the word Wald again, by the way. Und das Familienunternehmen Rombach und Haas stellt in 4. Generation im Schwarzwald Kuckucksuhren her. So, you got the kind of Kuckucksuhr that you can buy online or on Amazon, and maybe Amazon sells Rombach und Haas. I don't know. That's the Cadillac of cuckoo clocks. If you want to have a great cuckoo clock, that's the one to have. Rombach und Haas. They're in their fourth generation now of producing Black Forest cuckoo clocks. Okay, so back to over here, some other companies. Meggy is, they have a lot of things that it says butter, but they actually make a lot of, I don't know, condiments and things like that for cooking and for food. And then you have Oetker. This is what they started doing, pudding, yeah? Now they make all kinds of food-related products, but Oetker is a well-known, I don't know, it's like Kraft or something, well, not Kraft, but, yeah, some other big type food company. Porsche, well, okay. Porsche, we know that here very well because Porsche deals with cars, actually a pretty bit, they do more things than just cars, but Dr. Ferdinand Porsche in 1931, a competitor to this family above here. Ritter Sport, which is not my favorite chocolate, but it's a really, really good chocolate. And you actually can buy it here too. I saw it at Reese's not too long ago. But Clara and Alfred Ritter. And then this company, I don't know them, but Steiff. But they make, these are stuffed animals, like dolls. And they started in, Margareta Steiff in 1880. All right, so that goes back pretty far. Meggy, 1877. Pudding, 1891. All right, so these are all 19th and 20th century companies. Okay, let's look at the family Quandt. Well, or Die Familie Quandt, as they're known. This is the three generations, I think, of family here, if I'm correct. They're a bit of a controversial family. They're very, very closed off to. They don't really give interviews. They don't. They are not accessible, to the press in writing or on camera for interviews, at least. They were definitely they profited from the Nazis in World War II. So that's not different than a lot of other German companies. The difference maybe is, or I think the difference that people see is that the Quandt, Familie Quandt, were involved in a lot of things like other companies were, but the difference is that the company today and the family today is they've never really been open about what they've done, that people have investigated that, as journalists, whatever, and they've uncovered things they were involved in, and they uncovered contracts that they had, and uncovered the amount of money that they benefited from kind of war profiteering. But whereas other companies which any older company probably, that's what companies do, right? They want to get in on these government contracts, no matter who the government is, and that's how they make a lot of money. Well, BMW did it by making a lot of parts for tanks, and one of the things they made for tanks were batteries in order to start the tanks, all right, like a car battery, but these were batteries to start a tank, which you can imagine are pretty huge. And they had slave labor who made these batteries, Jews and other people who were held in camps. One of their battery factories was in, not in Bavaria, but was in Berlin, or near Berlin. And this was extremely dangerous work. They were, of course, working quickly, and of course, they didn't have much concern for the people who were making the batteries, so there were lots of explosions, and of course, batteries contain acid, and this would either kill or maim the people who, but just to be very blunt, when people are using slave labor, of course, that increases their profit margin, and because they don't have any cost in the laborers that are working there. So, they're kind of an interesting family. If you ever have a chance to, I don't know, have a kind of an open topic for a research paper sometime, or they're worth kind of looking into. There's a lot of positive and mostly a lot of negative things. But they're just kind of quiet about all that. And also because it's a family company. It's the same people, the same family, whereas a lot of these companies, are corporations and they're publicly owned, and it's more of an obligation to be open about their history and where money went, where it came from. Okay, Kuckucksuhren. These are cheaper kind of Kuckucksuhren. You can see here. Yeah, some of these are made in China even. The one I was talking about, though, the expensive ones are these hand-carved ones that they make, and even make custom Kuckucksuhren. I think they're neat clocks, a neat thing, but I don't know, it's not everybody's thing. So let's see here. Kuckucksuhren, we get some words on here. Kuckucksuhren haben in Deutschland und vor allem im Schwarz. Vor allem, that's a phrase in German meaning above all. So not just in Germany, Schwarzwald they come from, and from the Black Forest. Große Tradition, like a lange Tradition. Die meisten Kuckucksuhren sind Wanduhren. So we had Pinnwand. They're wall clocks, right? And Wanduhren. Aus Holz, made out of wood, aus Holz. Jede volle Stunde. At the top of every hour kommt ein Kuckuck. Mechanisch, a cuckoo is this little bird, right? Cuckoo bird. Mechanisch aus der Uhr, it comes out of a clock, und man kann einen Kuckucksruf hören. That's the call of a cuckoo, whatever, cuckoo, cuckoo. Und traditionelle Kuckucksuhren müssen alle 24 Stunden bis 8 Tage aufgezogen werden. What that means is, depends on the clock, but some of them every 24 hours, all the way up to 8 days. But every 24 hours, somewhere in between all the way to 8 days, you have to pull up these weights that have been coming downward. I'll show you one when we get back in class on a video. These little weights, they move downward slowly. That's actually what keeps the clock moving and keeps the pendulum going. And then every 24 hours, if you have a nicer clock, 8 days, you have to pull these weights back up again. I say weights, they weigh a couple of pounds or so. And that way you kind of are winding the clock up, basically. And so alle 24 Stunden bis 8 Tage aufgezogen werden, damit so that sie funktionieren, that the clocks function. Im Schwarzwald werden heute noch viele dieser Uhren von Hand gemacht. What are they made by? They're von Hand gemacht. They're handgemacht, handmade. Many of them are, not all, but die ältesten Kuckucksuhren, the oldest, stammen aus dem 18. Jahrhundert. So, yeah, okay, from the 1700s, right? I mean, I don't know how old people think that they are, but they're not crazy old. But clocks, in general, are not all that old anyway. But cuckoo clocks come as far back as the 18th century, 1700s. Okay, so good. We're just about done, or we are done, but the other article we'll read later about Robert Bosch. I've been talking already, but he was interesting, a character, very kind of ahead of his time as far as how he treated his employees and things like that. So, but anyway, that's the company I mentioned. That this is the guy who invented the spark plug and then went from there in producing those for cars. Yeah. Okay. So let me stop here, and there we go. Okay. So guys, stay warm and be safe, and we will have online class also tomorrow. Just be checking your email for information and see what we do tomorrow. It's kind of hard to start a chapter with not being in person, so I'm not stalling that at all. But there's some things that really I just feel better covering in class if it's possible, and I'm hoping that Thursday we'll be back in class. Okay, auf Wiedersehen, Kinder. Tschüss und bis morgen. Ne? Ciao, 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 ciao.